Welcome again. In today's video, we will know how to successfully run the learning stations. So it goes like this. We will direct students' attention to the logs and to the centers of the day. So we will tell them that today our centers are, for example, literacy center, mathematics center, writing center, science center, for example. Logs include the instructions and the objectives of the task. So we will hand them the logs of each center. Okay, we will put the log of the science center in the middle of the table, the mathematics log in the middle of the table, and so on. Prepare your groups of students ahead of time. We can, let's say, from the beginning of the year, we can divide or distribute the students into groups. Let's say the red group, the blue group, the yellow group, the pink group, for example. Okay, so we'll distribute these groups into the stations. Give your signal to start, maybe a whistle, maybe the signal you want to give is a whistle. Each group of students will go to a learning center, and after a certain time, let's say 20 minutes, you'll give your first signal to stop. Let's say first whistle, all of us will stop. Another signal to tuck the chairs in, and final signal to rotate. The signals could be whistling or holding up rotation cards. So this is the example of the classroom. This is how the classroom is going to look like. Center 1, 2, 3, and 4. This is group A. This is group B. So group A will go to center 1. Group B will go to center 2. Group C will go to center 3. Group 4 will go, Group D will go to center 4, etc. Then when you whistle your first whistle, the students will stop working and they'll tidy up their centers or their stations. This is the first whistle. The second whistle, the students will tuck their chairs in and they will stand up to get ready. So here, red whistle is to stop, then the yellow whistle is to get ready. It's when they tuck their chairs in and they stand up. And then the green whistle, it's when they rotate with your group. So each group will rotate, each student will rotate with his or her group to other station. This is when group A will go to center 2. They finished from center 1, so now group A will go to center 2. Group B will go to center 3. Group C will go to center 4. And group D will go to center 1. Then let's say 20 minutes have passed, you'll give your first whistle. It's when they will stop working and tidy up their stations. The second whistle, the same thing. They're going to tuck their chairs in and they'll get ready, stand up. And the third whistle, they'll rotate. And so on. Group A will go to center 3. Group B will go to center 4. Group C will go to center 1. And Group D will go to center 2. And then they will work on their work. And then you give the signal and it goes over and over until you will make sure that each group passed by all the 4 centers that you're introducing today. Now remember this, you have to be consistent because the kids will get used to this strategy by practice. So let's say not every day introduce a different strategy for them. So don't start, let's say, first whistle is tidy up, second whistle is get ready, and third whistle move. And then another day, you will only whistle one whistle and you will tell them you'll go on, rotate. Okay? So you have to be consistent in applying your rules because this is the way the kids got used to. Okay? Do not distract them. You need to plan your centers and logs ahead of time, obviously. While you're preparing your lesson plan, you have to get your logs ready. You can print them out or you can write them on a chart or on whiteboards. Tiny whiteboards are always helpful because instead of wasting papers or writing on cardboards in a fancy way, you can just put tiny whiteboards in each center and write the instructions on them. and then place stations or centers name tags per the activity. Obviously, you don't want the kids go guessing, oh, where's the math center, miss? Where's the English center, for example? No, you have to get the name tags of each center ready. You can assess your students' work during centers or collect their work to be graded later. If you're going to lead a certain station, then it's either going to be your assistant taking notes, but to me personally, I prefer doing these things myself because at the end of the day, not my assistant is going to assess the students. It's me who's going to be responsible for their reports. Okay, so you could either grade the students while working, or you can collect their work or their tasks and you can grade them later on. And this is what I actually prefer, to grade their work later on. Now you can always roam around the centers and give them feedback, direct feedback, and this is what you're supposed to do. Okay, because at the end of the day, the students need direct feedback on what they're doing. How can they fix this thing? How can they change, let's say, their experiment or the variables of their experiments? So you should be around, okay? But at the same time, if you have a center which you should lead, you have to be aware of who's going to do what, okay? You can ask for your assistant's help during centers. Your job during centers is to supervise or to guide one of the groups. The rest will manage their work on their own if they are well trained. Now, here is the secret. If your students are well trained, practiced well on this rotational centers, then they'll manage it themselves. They'll find it hard at the beginning because they aren't used to be independent and responsible for their learning. But with time, they'll be experts in that, and they can ask their friends help. They know that they can help each other. Your group of students could be homogeneous or heterogeneous. So your groups, the groups of students could be all the same level, knowledge level or academic level, or they could be high achievers, low achievers, with average students. I prefer putting different abilities in one group in order to enhance the collaboration, because when you're putting heterogeneous groups, the high achievers will become more responsible and more helping to others, because they'll be held responsible for the weaker students. Okay, they have to help them, and the weaker students are going to learn from the high achievers how to think, how to solve problems, how to collaborate, and how to be responsible for your own learning. These are some examples of centers. So as you can see here, there are 3 groups. So from far, this is how it's going to look like, okay? All of these students are busy on their work. Now, if you zoom in, you will see that one group is working on crosswords. Now, this lesson here is spelling and phonics. All of these centers have the same objective or the same task. I can't say the same task. We can say the same subject, which is phonics and spelling. But each center has a different activity. So this center over here, they have spelling objective, which is they're going to search for the spelling words and copy them down. This group over here is more phonics than spelling. They have 2 jars, one with the long vowel words and another one with the short vowel words. They're going to sort the cards, and then they're going to write them in these tables over here. They're going to sort these words. Now, this is the 3rd center, where the students are blending words with short vowels and long vowels and 3-letter cluster words. When time is up, these students will rotate. So these students over here will go to this center over here. They'll be working with the crosswords. And these students over here will go to another group or center where they're going to play this game, and etc. Until you make sure that each student or each group visited all the learning centers. Now, this is another example. It's for KG students. As you can see here, there are 4 centers, okay? This is the independent center. You can see that all of them independent except for one. So here students are working on their pre-writing skills. Each student has his own whiteboard. They're practicing their pencil grip, how to write or draw lines or circles or even scribble on their whiteboards. This group over here is teacher-led group. It has scientific concepts, five senses: smell, taste, touch, hear, see, etc. This is another center where the students are exploring how to control their fine motor skills by putting these marbles into this ice cube box. And here this group is also working on their fine motor skills and eye-hand coordination by tracing the letters using cars. As you can see, when you are building your centers, you have to know what are the activities that could be done by your students independently and what are the activities that need you. Because as you can see in this activity over here, students need to communicate their observation. So the teacher here is giving them the vocabulary words or the scientific concepts and putting them into sentences. Okay, so this center over here is not only actually science, it's also communication. I hope this video was interesting and I hope that you learned something today. I encourage all the teachers to implement such strategies in their classrooms because believe me, the students will have so much fun learning this way, and you are going to save a lot of time and a lot of effort while doing or implementing these strategies. Good luck and go try it yourself. Thank you all.